I'm Dana, and I wanted to come at you with a bit of a serious one today. I'm not very good with serious topics, so please excuse me if I'm laughing and smiley still, because that's how I cope with awkwardness. I also haven't done any notes because I want this to be like very genuine, sort of not quite off the top of my head because I have thought about this, but my genuine thoughts on it, you know. I don't want to script it or in any way cloud what I genuinely think about it, essentially. And that's the topic of autism being a superpower. I watch a lot of autistic YouTubers and they make fantastic content. I really enjoy watching them, and it's great to be able to see someone that you relate to and someone that has similarities with you. But a fair few of them have now uploaded the whole autism's my superpower videos. And to be fair, a few of them have done videos like this explaining how it's not as well. But I wanted to put my own 2 cents in it. And before I get too deep into it as well, I do want to say that if you're one of these autistic people that does think that your autism is your superpower, I think that's brilliant. I'm really happy for you. I think that's really, really nice, and I'm glad that you're proud of yourself and that you like yourself like that. But I do not see it like that, and I wanted to talk about why. I only received my autism diagnosis a few years ago, so for like a solid 20-year chunk of my life I did not know I was autistic. And it wasn't a superpower, it really wasn't. I cannot explain how many times I was misunderstood or misinterpreted by my family, by people in school, by teachers. Just the difficulties I faced having to socialise every single day. And then going home, being aware that I couldn't socialise with people the way everyone else could, and just feeling terrible about it. You know, that's not a superpower now, is it? You know, and then add into that all the times, like, I had a whole, like, ultrasound thing when I was a child because I had such crippling stomach pains before school, and they couldn't find anything, so everyone just assumed that I was lying about it. As much as I like told them I'm not lying, my stomach really hurts, you know. And years later I get the anxiety and autism diagnoses, and I'm like, well, that's what that was. It's not a superpower, is it? I don't want this just to be a rant of like my life's been shit, because it hasn't been, for one, and also I just don't want to have a ranting video about that. It's very not helpful to anyone. But my point by starting with that is essentially that a superpower, I think, is something it's something that helps you. It's something that helps you in your life. It's something that you can help other people with. And that's not been autism for me. You know, I think in some ways it does help me to help other people because I care very, very deeply about other people. You know, it's so narcissistic to say I'm aware, but I am a very empathetic person. I feel really bad for people if bad things are happening for them. I really want to help people to feel better about themselves and about life and about anything bad that's happening to them. And, you know, for them, me being like that's probably a very good thing most of the time. But again, it can be a massive negative for me because that can mean that I get completely taken advantage of while trying to help people, or I'm just walked all over. It's so difficult to say no to people, and so many people take advantage of that. Like, I did a job for 2 years that I barely got paid for and still haven't been paid the last of the money I'm owed from it because I just didn't know how to say no. You know, all the times that I've had to just leave a shopping place without the shopping that I need or want because I'm just so overwhelmed by people and noises and things happening. That's not a superpower. All the jobs that I've had that only lasted for like 3 days because I was having a complete breakdown. The like 4-year-long autism burnout that I experienced. Where's the superpower in that? Autism absolutely, like being autistic absolutely has its positives as well. I think about things in a way that no one else seems to sometimes. Like I'll do something when something's stuck or whatever, and everyone else will be like, oh wow, I never would have thought of that. And it was just the first thing I thought of. But like I say, I think a superpower is something that overall helps you and doesn't hinder you. And as much as I am trying to be proud of who I am and try to appreciate the things that I've done and the things that I've overcome, I wouldn't have had to overcome or deal with those things if I wasn't autistic. You know, and that's not to say that I want to find a cure, because I don't. Being autistic is a part of who I am, and I don't want to change who I am anymore. But the fact of the matter is, if society changed some parts of how it is, my life would be infinitely easier. And that's because I'm autistic, you know? When you've got something that's there making your life more difficult and holding you back from certain things, that isn't a superpower. And of course, everyone's experience of being autistic is completely different. So some people won't feel that, like I do, that my autism has held me back. They won't feel that being autistic makes their life more difficult than it needs to be. In which case, I'm sure, you find it to be a superpower, and that's really nice. I'm really happy for you. But I don't see it, and I can't help but think maybe this is some sort of class issue, because, Greta Thunberg said it, and she's obviously from a family that's got a bit of cash. And let's face it, money might not buy you happiness, but it can buy you an easier life quite fast. And as someone who doesn't have money and then is also autistic, can't hold down a job, has like regular fucking meltdowns when I try to, I don't see autism as being my superpower. And this has become a ranty video that I didn't want it to be. I think it's important to talk about, I think there's been a lot of discussion lately of how like people with lower support needs that are autistic talking about their autism can prevent those with higher support needs from getting it and the like. And I do think that that's what's going to happen if we start promoting autism as this like great superpower that makes you like so much better and you love having it, man. I do think that more and more people are going to be disregarded and not taken seriously when they do ask for help due to their autism, because the general public zeitgeist is, oh, but it's a superpower. You're like lucky to be autistic, right? And I don't feel like I am. As much as I say I wouldn't want to find a cure for autism because it would change who I am, if you could tell me that we can just go back and I'll be born neurotypical, I'd go for that in a heartbeat, to just be able to get through life and not having a shower be difficult. And maybe this is something that I'll get to grips with. Maybe this is me still learning to accept my autism, still accept being an autistic person. I don't know. I'll only know in the future when I've learned more. But right now, as much as I'm trying to see autism as a positive and being autistic as a positive, I don't. I see it as quite a neutral place. And I know that sounds weird when I've just ranted about how it makes my life more difficult, but it also makes me who I am. And I don't want to not be who I am, which is why, which gives me a neutral feeling on it, because like, yeah, my life's more difficult, but would I want to be someone that's not this? So I am very much like in the middle of the scale on it. I'm like, it's just a thing. It makes my life more difficult, but it makes me who I am. It's just a pure neutral thing for me. It's just a fact about me. But presenting it as a positive thing, I just think has its issues. Like, I grew up on Tumblr in the time when we were romanticising every mental health issue out there, essentially. And that was really bad. And I feel like we're going to as an autistic community fall down the rabbit hole of almost glamorising and romanticising being autistic. And we haven't yet, and I'm not saying we absolutely will, but I can see that happening. And as much as I want the general public to be more aware, more educated on autism, I think it would be frankly dangerous to educate them that autism is a positive thing and not just a neutral fact about someone. I don't think it should be touted as something negative. I don't agree with this, like, cure your child, oh, such and such, like, grew out of autism, or ABA or anything. I don't think autistic people need to change, is what I'm saying there. Society needs to change to make it easier for us, and then maybe we can market it as a positive trait. But for now, when we need support and we need people to be more understanding and more educated and to learn more about autism, I think it's dangerous isn't necessarily the word for it. I don't know what word I'm trying to find. I think it's just a poor choice. I think that's all I'm looking for. Dangerous was a bit strong. I just think it's a poor choice. And I do also feel like, to a degree, it infantilises us. It makes us seem more childlike. Being like, I have a superpower. Even if you're a full-ass adult saying that, we all know the neurotypicals are going to be, oh, the sweet little autist thinks it's a superpower. And, no, we shouldn't have to constantly think, well, how's this going to be perceived if I say this? You should be able to just say what you want. But it's important to consider your choice of words. And especially when it's being aimed to educate neurotypicals about us, I just think we really need to stick to presenting autism as being just a neutral fact about some people and not something positive or negative. If I need support with something, I don't want the reaction to be, but you've got a superpower, like, why can't you just do that? It's very nearly already like that anyway. We don't need to make it worse. And I think as well about a lot of the people that I've seen saying it, they have some sort of special interest that near enough is a superpower on its own. Their special interest is something that can be useful in real life and something that other people can admire. My special interest are TV shows. If anyone wants to hear the history of Doctor Who, hit me up, but it's not actually useful, is it? I feel like so much of autism education and autism advocacy despite having been around for a while, I'm aware, it's still very much in its like early stages. There's still a lot of people that do not understand autism. And the more and more real life people I've told I'm autistic to, the more I'm aware of that. And until there is a better understanding, I just think it's absolutely vital that we present autism and being autistic as just factual. You know, put emotion into it, put your feelings into it, put your experiences into it for sure, to help people understand and to help educate if that's what you're about. But I just really think it's vital to treat it as a neutral, just reality to people. You know, like I don't want any sort of pity or like, oh no, poor girl for being autistic. But I also don't want like people to have high expectations of me to be something that I'm not because I'm autistic, because other people are marketing autism as something positive. And my final point is that I also think it's damaging for people coming into the community, you know, people that have self-diagnosed recently, people that have been diagnosed recently, people that have only recently found the community online, because these people are coming in with likely a pretty base understanding of themselves and their own autism and who they are as an autistic person. And if you're someone like me that's had a lot of struggles and really found it difficult to live in a neurotypical world as an autistic person, to then tell them like, oh, well, that's a superpower. You should be like happy to have that. You're like different from everyone else and you're really lucky. It's a superpower. You know, it just feels a bit like, fuck off, mate. Like, you know, and I understand, obviously, that the people who are saying this believe it, and that's how they feel about their autism. And like I've said multiple times in this video, I'm not trying to shit on anyone. If you see autism as a superpower, I'm really happy for you. And I know it sounds condescending or sarcastic or whatever, but I really am. I really think that it's really nice, and I'd love to be in that place. But I'm not, and I think that we should be able to be honest about that and have a discussion about that without anyone being attacked. Please don't attack me. Like, I'd been dabbling in the autistic community online for probably a few months when I first heard the whole, like, autism's my superpower. And I was immediately like, are other people having, like, a nice experience with this? Like, and of course, I'm glad that they are. But it's just so not the reality for many of us. And with how neurotypicals seem to view us as these, like, special little puppy dogs that need a pat on the head, I think that it's giving them more fuel to that fire. The neurotypicals shouldn't matter, their opinion of us shouldn't matter, but it does matter for autistic people to be able to get the support we need and to be able to have our own place in society that's safe and where we can be safe and be ourselves. It's important to advocate for ourselves and to speak up for ourselves. And of course, if you're doing that by saying that your autism's a superpower because that's how you feel, that's awesome. But it worries me. That's basically what I'm saying here, is it worries me. It worries me that neurotypicals will get the wrong end of the stick and just be like, well, go and get a job then. Autistic people, like, y'all have got a superpower. Just go out into the world and show us your superpower. And then new autistic, like, no one's a new autistic person unless they've just been born, obviously, but people that have only recently found out or gained a community around it, pushing them to believe that they should see something that may well have had a negative effect on their life or made their life more difficult, telling them that they should see it as a positive, it feels a little invalidating to me, it feels a little unfair, it feels a little pushy. For now, that's the video. Thank you for watching. It's been a rambly one, so if you've made it this far, please do like and subscribe because you obviously liked it. If you disagree or agree with me and you want to continue the discussion in the comments, please do. But please do be respectful towards me and other people. I've tried really hard to be respectful and kind and pleasant here, despite basically speaking on a topic that I disagree with. I'm not trying to shit on anyone or make anyone feel bad, so please don't do that to me. I know what the internet's like, but I'd like to think that the few people that watch my videos are nicer than that. With that being said, I would still really like to know what you think about this. I think that discussion is one of the main things that's helped me to understand my autism and being an autistic person in this world and so on and so forth better. And I think it's really important, and I like talking to other people, whether you're autistic or not. So thank you for watching the whole video. Can't believe anyone's done that. Thank you very, very much. I hope you have a lovely day for doing so. I hope you have a really nice day. I hope I have a nice day. I hope your mum has a nice day. Let's all have a nice day apart from Boris.